My name is Lila Carter. I'm 32 years young, and I dwell in Portland, Oregon. I'm a spouse, a career woman, and not long ago, I believe I understood my boundaries. But life enjoys challenging you, pulling you into dark corners you never knew were there until you're stuck inside them. This is my tale, a narrative of how one choice nearly shattered all I held dear. Ethan and I crossed paths in university. We were youthful, brimming with hopes and drive, and our romance seemed like a scene from a film. He was a steady, trustworthy fellow, the kind you could count on no matter the situation. When we tied the knot, I was certain he was the person I wanted to create a future with. We enjoyed giggles, aspirations, and a picture to mar together. We were teammates in every way, and I had total faith in him. Yet, as time rolled on, things changed. Our once lively bond settled into a calm, silent pattern. Ethan, a technician, had a job that required endless hours and regular travels away from home. While he toiled to ensure our stability, I ran our home and grew my own path in organizing events and business messaging. Life seemed safe, though I confess, a tad hollow. It had a constant beat, but it missed the excitement I used to yearn for. That's when Noah Bennett stepped into my world. Older than me, bold, and puzzling in a way that grabbed my curiosity right away, he joined our team as a new head. He soon proved himself as someone folks admired and slightly dreaded. He didn't just blend in, he demanded notice. His aura was like a quiet dare. With his sharp stare, it felt like he could peer right into you, sensing ideas you didn't even realize you held. One night, after a tiring, drawn-out meeting, he casually asked me to grab a beverage. "Just this once," he said with a grin that hinted he knew more than I did. I paused, picturing Ethan and the life we'd shaped, but the pull of being truly seen, recognized, even valued, was too powerful to ignore. I convinced myself it was innocent, just a drink. I'd go, have a brief talk, and return home like nothing occurred. That evening, seated across from Noah in a snug, softly lit tavern, I felt a rush I hadn't known in ages. He wasn't merely hearing me. He was soaking in every syllable, his gaze fixed on mine, making me feel noticed in a way I'd long forgotten. I opened up about my days, my goals, and even the troubles I usually hid. His chuckles, his allure, the slight tilt as he leaned closer. It was all enchanting. When I got back home, a flicker of shame tugged at me, but I pushed it aside. It was just a drink, after all. I told myself that everyone has pals, don't they? Companions who hear you out, who get you. It seemed harmless enough, or so I believed. But that single beverage turned into another, then one more. Our casual get-togethers soon became routine, each one tugging me nearer to a boundary I'd sworn I'd never step over. We'd talk over tea, swap looks at work, and before long, those looks grew into something deeper. I began to eagerly await seeing Noah, craving the buzz of our next chat. His phrases, his company, they wiped away the dullness of my everyday existence. Then, one afternoon, strolling back from a meal, he gently grabbed my hand. It was a tiny move, yet it felt enormous. My heart pounded, my breath raced, and a jumble of feelings hit me. Regret, joy, and dread. That brief touch stayed with me all day, like a hidden mark carved into my soul. I knew I should halt, should step back from whatever this was becoming. But a longing I couldn't fully grasp kept pulling me back. As weeks drifted by, our bond deepened, growing stronger. Noah would swing by my desk just to flash a grin or murmur a soft jest. Then, one evening after hours, he leaned in near, his face so close to mine, and whispered, "Just this once." It was all the nudge I craved, and all the caution I should have heeded. That night, in a hushed, tucked-away room, my world shifted forever. I crossed a limit I'd vowed never to breach, a line that, once passed, could never be redrawn. My head screamed, pleading with me to stop, to retreat, but my heart, my yearnings, took charge. The rush, the thrill, it was unlike anything I'd ever known. Afterward, lying there in the quiet of night, truth slammed into me. I'd betrayed Ethan, the man who'd offered me his devotion, his faithfulness, his trust. Shame gripped my chest, yet a piece of me couldn't ignore the elation I felt. The excitement, the rush, briefly dulled to guilt, but I knew it wouldn't last before the burden of my actions crushed me. Our secret fling carried on, each meet-up a gamble, each workplace glance a hint of forbidden. We were cautious, always checking around us, mindful of what could happen if anyone learned the truth. I grew skilled at concealing things, smiling through lies, pretending all was fine while my heart twisted in a maze of dishonesty. Ethan began to spot shifts in me. The late evenings, the far-off looks, the times I'd drift into thoughts I couldn't reveal. One night, as I fixed supper, he asked, "Is everything all right? You seem off." His gaze brimming with worry. His words hit hard, and my spirit sank. I knew he felt something was amiss, that he sensed a gap growing between us. But I couldn't muster the courage to admit the truth, couldn't break the dream of the existence we crafted side by side. So I grinned, dodging his query with comforting words, wishing he'd drop it. Yet, as days turned into weeks, the burden of my hidden secret grew stifling. The remorse devoured me, gnawing at my spirit, and still I felt caught in a loop I couldn't escape. Noah had turned into a need, a hunger I couldn't shake off, even as I noticed the damage rippling through my days, my partnership, and my calm. I understood I had to stop, to step away before I lost it all. Then came the evening when everything fell apart. Ethan returned early from a work journey. Startling me, I'd hardly pulled myself together when he stepped into the room, his gaze brimming with doubt and pain. He didn't need to speak. He already sensed it. The reality was painted across my features, in the clumsy way I searched for excuses, in the shame shadowing my eyes. "What's happening, Lila?" His tone was firm, but a quiver of hurt laced his words. I tried to sidestep, to fib, but the facts stood bare between us, hovering like a dark cloud. In that instant, I grasped the enormity of my actions. I crushed his faith, his affection, the bedrock of our shared life. I spilled everything, each syllable tearing me apart as I watched the ruin in his stare. Ethan stayed silent, just gazing at me, his expression a blend of sorrow, treachery, and shock. He walked out that night, unable to carry the load of my admission, leaving me alone in the hollow shell of our house, tormented by the decisions that led me there. Since that moment, my path has been one of facing the fallout of my choices. Ethan came back eventually, but nothing felt the same. Our bond, once rooted in confidence, now seemed delicate, like a vase that had broken and been glued together. I'm left gathering the pieces of what we once shared, trying to mend a life forever stained by my disloyalty. I tell this tale not for pity or pardon, but as a warning to anyone who hears it. Temptation can be mighty, and the rush of the forbidden can blur who you are, what you believe in, and what you risk losing. I've learned that one fleeting lapse can echo through your world, leaving wounds that might never fully fade. I hope my story nudges you to treasure what you hold, to push back against the pull of passing wants, and to cling to the love and trust that truly count.